Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the NFT Catcher Podcast, episode 116. Tonight, we have a very special guest, Mr. Steve NFTBark, co-host of Coffee with Captain in the Morning, dGenNetwork. What's up, brother?
Hey, Mike. Good to be on here. Excited. I've obviously been a fan for a really long time, so just honored to be asked.
Yeah, what a pleasure. What a pleasure. So full disclosure for everybody. Today is Tuesday, the 17th. We recorded this on Sunday. We had a technical difficulty. It did not record. I take full responsibility. It was a nightmare. Steve is a true gentleman for coming back on. We're going to run it back. We'll probably talk about some of the same stuff. We had a really good conversation. It was really awesome stuff, but we're going to have a good time tonight. And there's even some breaking news you probably saw that just happened with Yuga. Yep. So, before we get in, though, what I said last time, and I really mean it, your show in the morning is the best way on the East Coast to start your day. 8 a.m., nice and easy. Put it on Twitter Spaces. You guys go for a long time. It's entertaining. You always get feel, what's happening in NFTs that day. If there's something breaking, it's what you guys talk about. I really enjoy the show. I enjoy how you guys put your own personality into it. You have great guests. And so, like I said, no smoke at all, but that is a really great way to start the day. It's one of the best Twitter Spaces going. So congrats on that and keeping it up.
Means a lot to me. I appreciate you saying that. See, because we think about it when like Cap started that space, because I honestly, I'm sort of like the feral cat that Cap kept feeding, because like he'd started the show because he wanted to talk about the news of the day. And he just kept bringing me up the stage. And at one day, I just never left and decided to become an indoor cat. And so he kept me there as the co-host. And it's crazy to think, in December when it started and I was going every day and just kind of show up to stage, I mean, we'd have like 12 total people. And then you look at the ones now and it's like, we had a normal show this morning and there were 1,700 people in and out like throughout the morning. So it's like, you have those moments where you're like, wow, like we're doing 700, 800, 1,000 people in a morning. And you think about that's a Broadway theater you're talking to. So super cool. And I appreciate your support there. And it's been really fun to grow it.
1,000%, man. That's amazing. So let's hear your story. How did you get into NFTs? We figured out last time we pretty much bought the same Top Shot pack to start our NFT journey, pushing 2 years ago now, but you have a story that started kind of before that. So I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. That was funny when we discovered like we both were in like the Cool Cats drop for the first one. And it was
much.
Like when Top Shot was cooking.
You said RJ Barrett. I might have even had RJ Barrett also.
It's wacky. I wonder who our exit liquidity was there, but
right.
But no, it's crazy. Yeah, I actually, I've always been interested in tech, and when people ask how I started in NFTs, I always kind of get a little bit a little bit further back where, when I was in sixth grade, when I was 12 years old, I was really starting to play around on the internet. And I'm 39 now, so that can kind of give you the dates if you want to kind of backdate it. But one of the first things I taught myself how to do, and this is before Google and all those things, was HTML, because I wanted to build websites. And I thought it was so cool I could code something into existence and somebody in New Zealand or Los Angeles could type in that address and see what I did. So it was like this amazing moment for me. But I had teachers, adults, other people in my life say, not every business is going to need a website. Who cares about websites or stores? It's a waste of your time. What are you going to do when you grow up? So kind of shelved that to the side. Flash forward 2004, I'm early on Facebook. The first person who added me as a friend was a person who had moved away from the school that I was in, who I was friends with in grade school. And I thought, how cool is that I'm reconnecting with this person for the first time and they found me on this network. Again, people are like, this platform, it's dumb. You poke each other, whatever. Twitter, 2009, I was on pretty early. Again, I thought there was this seminal moment in communications when, and I still think this, when the plane landed on the Hudson River and the first pictures from it, they weren't from a police helicopter or a news helicopter. It was the people on Twitter who took pictures in the ferry coming over. So again, it's like, this is such a cool communications tool. Nobody cares what you ate for breakfast, Steve. This is a waste of your time, yada, yada, yada. So then 2018 rolls around. I get into crypto. And the people in my group will vouch for me, who I used to manage when I was at Progressive in my role at the time, which they would say, what are you into? And I would whiteboard out to them what Bitcoin and crypto were. But the one that always really interested me, like hand to God, was Ethereum. And the reason is I would say, like, look, this Bitcoin thing is cool. This Ethereum thing, you could build businesses on it with these smart contract things. And I was saying it at the time. I thought it was cool. But again, wasn't on crypto Twitter, didn't have a lot of crypto friends. And, when crypto crashed, a lot of people around that time were there for the crash. I was like, you know what? They were right. It's a giant scam, whatever, and got off it. So flash forward, and that Top Shot moment we talked about. So I'd always been into collectibles. My dad has a mega baseball card collection, right? And so I was like, you know what? Like, this is interesting to me. It's like a digital basketball collectible. Cool. I'm a Cavs fan. I'm going to buy a Jarrett Allen block from actually the Nets at the time. He's my brother's favorite player. And then people were like, this is an NFT. And I was like, what's an NFT? And I look it up, and sure enough, it's early 2021, late 2020. You look it up and it says, now, of course, Top Shot's on Flow, but it said a business built on the Ethereum blockchain. And I had this like click moment where my head was like, oh my God, this is the thing built on the thing I was obsessed with in 2018, built on the thing I was obsessed with in 6th grade. And from that moment on, I'm like, all right, I'm going to learn everything about these things. I'm obsessed. I'm showing up to Twitter Spaces. I'm listening. I'm asking the most simple questions to people like Josh Ong and Baron von Hussel and all people I've become friends with who I just revere because they answered all my silly questions. And
I was just listening to
got
Baron.
excited.
He's on Twitter Space right now. I was just listening. He's talking about the sewer pass.
He's Baron's a great one. He's a great vibes guy. Just good old dude.
Yeah. He interviewed me like super early on. He was trying to interview every Bored Ape. That was like his goal for a while.
Yeah. Was that back in your that's right. He was running the Jason the Ape show and everything. Was that
yeah, exactly.
Was that back in your was that before or after you sold the Fidenza? Just gonna twist the knife a little bit there.
Let me look up. I got it in my email. I could see FIDENZA.
And by the way, you have the best I think you have the best like positive mental attitude about things, because even as you're telling those stories, you never say like what was me or what could have been. You're like, it was part of the journey. And I think that that's so respectable that you don't hear from a lot of people. A lot of people are like, I regret not selling this, or I regret buying this. And you almost tell the story. It's almost like it's like a badge of honor for you,
That one is a little bit. I've told the story a lot. I mean, it's not great. So I pulled it up. Friday, June 11th. You successfully sold Fidenza number 947 for 0.23 ETH.
Fidenza 947. Yeah. That's one that you always remember.
Yeah. Oh man, let's see what it's done right now.
I was just looking. I was going to be like, okay, what is the best offer? There's no way that could be correct. Oh, it's $65,000. I thought that was ETH. I was going to say. You know what? It hasn't been sold a lot. The person who
they sold it for 0.78. Yeah.
Oh, that little half an ETH flip right there from
the DC Investor. Now DC Investor owns it. Unbelievable. I didn't even know that. Know that.
That's kind of cool though. DC Investor owns like one of your, your Fidenza. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so cool. So cool.
I love that.
That's crazy. I didn't even realize that, because I don't like to look back too much. I don't like to look back.
Eyes forward, windshield, not rear view. Let's go.
No doubt. But I did have some wins with art blocks. Do you remember Salobots?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're like, to me, they're super ugly. Like, and I also minted them because, like, somebody on Twitter was saying to do it. So I think I had like 3 or 4 of those, and they sat really low for a long time, like 05, 06, 04. And I remember thinking, I'm not going to sell. Like, why would I bother selling it for so low? Like, I've sold so much that blows up, but I hated them. And they actually pumped at one point to like 10 ETH, and I was able to sell them there. And I don't know where they're at now, but
that's a success point, though. Anything like that,
big time,
that's a huge win.
Yeah, big time. I mean, we were there. Like, I'm sure you were probably in the same. Like, I minted a bunch of cool cats. I minted a bunch of gutter cats, and like all that, all that stuff, right? The Punks comic. VGF was a huge help. I don't know if you know VGF, but
Oh, VGF's my guy. Yeah.
Yeah, VGF's he's one of the smartest guys in the entire space. We've had him on. He's been a friend for a long time from the Clubhouse days. Were you on Clubhouse back then? Did you get on Clubhouse early on?
I never played around on Clubhouse. I didn't get my acceptance to Clubhouse until Twitter Spaces had really been the thing. You know, I wanted to be in Clubhouse. I couldn't get in. You had to like wait for them to say you could join.
Yeah, or somebody could have like given you an invite. But yeah, I that was like that. It wasn't open, and it wasn't on Android for a long time.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're Android or iPhone. But
I'm an iPhone guy, but I mean, for me, it became like Twitter Spaces rolled around right around little before the VFriends drop. I think is when I started really playing in Twitter Spaces, and that's when I was like, because that was to me, that was the place I could pop in and again like ask people like Baron and Josh and others like the silly questions that they would then just answer all nice, and I'm like, man, these NFT people are so kind.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's what it was. Do you know that Twitter tried to buy Clubhouse for like $4 billion?
No.
Clubhouse turned them down. Yeah, you can look that up. They made an offer, and I think it was $4 billion, and Clubhouse turned them down. So Twitter was like, all right, we'll just make our own. And they that really did shut down Clubhouse. There's no more NFT Clubhouse. It's very small. I loved Clubhouse. I actually still think Clubhouse is a better interface, better audio. But I was a host on there for a while. It was great. I mean, I made a lot of connections, people I'm still friends with.
Yeah, no, it's great. I know a lot of people who talk about the old school Clubhouse days.
Yeah, the old school Clubhouse days.
I dabbled a little, but after alerts, but it was like Twitter Space that already started to take off. And now, I mean, I think Twitter, just because of the scale of the amount of people that are on Twitter already, it's like a multi, it's news, it's information, it's communities. It's like a social audio just makes sense.
1000%. Ah, this Fidenza looking at the Fidenza. At least it's not like a super rare one. DC investor. That's so funny. He's got all kind of look at his. He's got nouns and autoglyphs. This guy's a whale.
Yeah, DC investor is doing all right for himself. He's got quite the portfolio.
He's got a bunch of punks. I'm looking through ringers. Yeah, he's doing all right. Good old DC investor.
I think he's gonna make it.
Yeah. So today's Tuesday the 17th. We're recording in the evening. We were supposed to be able to claim our sewer passes today. And right before we came on, about 20 minutes ago, they announced they're going to push it to tomorrow. No big deal. They want to make sure the tech is done correctly. That stuff doesn't bother me. But I did set up my warm wallet today, which is still a little nerve-wracking. I was nervous even doing that. But
I checked the link. 25 times. I checked the tweet like 25. But I will say that technology is very cool. Now, I've heard from people smarter than me that there's some like way you can intercept, but not like trade assets, but like somebody could potentially intercept and use it. But like, I don't know how true that is. Like I've heard that, but like, other than that, I mean, if that part's even true, I think that it's just such a cool feature that you can delegate access so that I can like just see it can mirror the assets in my cold wallet. Cause I get nervous when I connect to some shitty merch site to like buy merch and I'm connecting my to this. I'm like, this is
totally
I'm out of my mind. You know,
you're gonna buy a tee. You're gonna connect your $100,000 ape to buy a t-shirt. Yeah,
to buy like a cardboard 100% cotton t-shirt that's made like
totally.
It's like and that's what I'm putting my ape at risk for. So I like this warm wallet concept. It's my first time using it as well. And technology like that's just going to keep growing. To me, that's something that we absolutely need, because you look at people who are like losing their assets in this space, and it's sad, but it's like, that is a amazing technology that'll help us not worry about, like, let's say that there is somebody who does a fake sewer pass tonight because they delayed sewer pass to tomorrow. If you connect your warm wallet to it, you're not compromising your ape at the very least. So that's, there's, if you have a, dGen wallet that you have and a hot wallet like that, a burner wallet, like you're safe. In fact, I had somebody actually who had this idea that for their burner wallet, they used to buy everything. My friend Outer Lumen, I think it was. No, it wasn't Outer. It was somebody who told me. Basically, what they do is they will connect their burner wallet to all the sketchy sites. And if they get robbed, they have all their rug NFTs in there. So whoever's robbing them is taking them stuff that they didn't want in the first place, like, all their Apimon eggs and all their Arabian camels and everything. So I thought that was kind of a funny concept.
The Arabian camels. That's hilarious. There's a lot of rug ones. I have like 750 now in my main profile, not even in the hidden one. And at first I was always like selling everything. I didn't have hardly anything stacking up. And then they start to stack up. They become unsellable, a lot of them.
Well, and you never know what's going to have I remember the bonsai trees, and I had a couple of those. I had like 4 or 5. And
yeah, I minted a bunch of bonsais as well. Yep.
And couldn't sell them. And then out of nowhere, it was like, I don't know, like maybe 6 months ago, they pumped. And
to
I'm like
0.15 or 0.2 or something. I remember. Yep.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I sold like my remaining like 2 or 3 of them at that moment because I'm like, I don't know who wants these, but actually one of the funniest ones as a side note is I had like one Arabian camel left from like way back when, and I listed it like floor with I think a Pix puppy, which was another one that like was right after.
I remember that one too. I remember that
little dancing Pix puppies, and I listed them both, and they sold really quickly. And actually, I looked, and it's funny. Like I just mentioned the burner wallet from the one friend of mine, and I looked in the wallet that bought them because I was so curious because they bought like both of them, and sure enough, this person, I'm like, oh, this person's they have an Apimon egg and a Yeti. Oh my God, it was a wallet of all the rugs or all the failed projects, and they were buying my Pix puppy and my like some other weird cat project I had, and their wallet was just stuffed to the brim with this stuff because you never know what's going to pop or when it does. So interesting strategy, right? You spend like $12 and like $5 in gas, and who knows, maybe it'll be worth $1,000 one day.
It could be. You know what? One thing that we haven't seen a ton of yet, but we've seen some of it, where these projects can get bought and they can change hands. If somebody at Yuga Labs is like, I really love those bonsai trees. Let's reach out to them. Let's buy the contract and buy the project for 50 grand. The person will probably take it. And there's things like that will happen. Some of them will just end up in the graveyard, but there will be, like we saw Pudgy Penguins get bought, there's a couple others. I don't know if anyone else did it super successfully, but I mean, like, I think it's a really good point, not just distressed assets, but even like thriving ones with good communities and good tech. I think about one of the ones that I always thought would be an interesting acquisition target is Goats, Maison des Goats, because, Dez is a brilliant founder. He's a friend of mine. So like, I'm not just saying this to pump his bags. I mean, sure. Yeah,
the guy was the first one to have like this like burnable deflationary thing where like you buy one goat with one set of traits, you buy another goat with other set of traits, and you combine them. So it takes out that you minted something and you don't quite like it, and you can make these combinations. And, I see tech like that. I see how he like innovated and did things like that. And I'm like, man, what if someone just acquired goats for the tech and Dez, because he's like a brilliant kind of guy. And, next thing you know, like if like Yuga was like, you know what, like we don't feel like building this backend that you just built. We just want to acquire you. It's like, that would be so cool. And so I think that you're right. There's something to that. It's not even just distressed assets, but even, if people want the IP, if people like the, like you said, the quality, or if people just like the community or the style, like they might just go for it.
Yeah, they might. And when, even bringing it further into the future, when is Disney going to start buying some of this stuff? There'll be consolidation. You know what I mean? Like some of these, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't Disney buy the Doodles? Not that the Doodles necessarily needs it, but like something like that, Disney probably will start to look.
If I were Disney, I've said this before, and this is a total, again, slight bag pump because I do own a lot of them. If I were Disney, I would buy like On-Chain Monkey. Here's why. They have these Karma monkeys, which were literally done by designers who worked on like Ferdinand and like Ice Age and stuff, right? So these are amazing, like great kid-friendly art. My kids, my daughter, she wears that On-Chain Monkey sweatshirt all the time. So like kids love them, right? And then on top of that, they have Danny Yang running it, which is like, this guy this will be so nerdy, but On-Chain Monkey was the first fully on-chain in one transaction PFP, which sounds like a mouthful, but what it means is instead of spending like thousands of ETH to deploy a contract on chain, they spent like, an ETH or something or whatever it was at the time, like so small because of how he compressed it. It's like you get a tech guy like that who everything runs smooth and knows what he's doing. Bill Tai, who's the other founder, he was the first investor in Zoom. He's kind of this heavy hitter in crypto. It's just I always thought, I'm like, man, that would be a cool acquisition target for them because then, and again, Disney likes their own IP. It's not even about the IP. It's like you're getting the talent, you're getting the people, and you're getting someone who's just world class who we all think people will be like, I got into NFTs in 2020. I'm an OG. Danny Yang presented NFTs as a solution to land titles to the government of Egypt and the president of Egypt in 2015. NFTs in
Wow.
2050. So it's like people like that, like those are the things I think people don't, and I don't even know if they would want to be acquired. I just always thought that would be cool because you get cool IP if you want it. You get a really good team, you get a really good community, you get the tech. It would just, so I think you're right. Like, and they have these giant war chests to, when is Apple going to acquire Token Proof? Like, let's get that going already,
Right. Or Live Nation, Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no, Apple, all those companies, I mean, and they're like, Disney will buy IP, obviously, Marvel, Simpsons, like, Star Wars, they're not scared to put some money out there for some IP. No, it's really interesting. Let's circle back to the sewer game. The what is it? Dookie Dash.
Dookie Dash.
Now I'm excited to play. I'm excited to claim. Who was it? Menace to Society put out a tweet today, a really nice thread about it, about why he thinks there's going to be value. And I asked him because we were talking about what the prices might be. He was suggesting between 1.5 and 2.5 ETH on the low tier, is what he's suggesting.
That would make me make some decisions, right? Because I've talked about having like a friend or some people like working, selling that pass to like a friend or letting a friend borrow it, and then we split or whatever. Man, if it's a couple of ETH for that low end pass, because I got the mutant pass I can get,
right?
And then what's that?
One and still,
And what's that high end going to go for then? Did he say that?
He didn't say. He just said 1.5 to 2.5 on the low end, and I didn't. That was just a guess. You know what I mean? And obviously, it like sometimes the move is if you want to like get it right away and sell it right away, because like those first sales are always a little high. I mean, other deed, if you remember, that was like 7, 8, 9 ETH.
Yeah, 8 ETH. I remember.
Yeah.
You nailed the price. It's so funny too because like, and I know this is something we had talked about, but like this is one of the first ones. So other deed, my prediction was 7 to 10 ETH. Boom. Right in that sweet spot. When Moonbirds, my prediction was you're going to have 12 ETH handy within 24 hours. Boom, 12 ETH. I was wrong on captains. I thought captains from Meme Land were going to be like 10 to 12 ETH, and they based on because the thing was you needed 3 potatoes to get a captain. Potatoes were over 3 ETH, 10 ETH. I was just trying to do like napkin math. Yeah. Wrong. It's about 5 ETH, right? So that didn't quite work out. But yeah, no, I think the sewer pass, I have no feel, none. But I
know.
I do think it's cool, though. I mean, I think to your point, like the fact that there's this is what's cool about Yuga. Everything is new and innovative always. And then people copy them, right? I mean, interactive mint, tradable sewer pass, couple of weeks to work on it, some sort of secondary NFT that allows you so it's like once you're done with this, if for people who don't know, once you're done with this Dookie Dash, you get a score. Your score is then given a multiplier based on which sewer pass you had. So if you have a Bored Ape and a dog, it's the highest level tier of membership, well, then you're getting the biggest boost. Those scores are going to correlate to some other NFT, which will continue this whole storyline this year. It's almost like they have these stops along the way where you're going to have the option to buy or trade or keep or sell. And I just think that's cool. And the other thing that's really cool, and to me, it's like, this ape sync, like I complain that no fungible token has ever been successful, right? It's like outside of like, ApeCoin in the NFT ecosystem, right? It's the only one that has had any sort of sustained success. But even ApeCoin doesn't have enough syncs. Man, 2 ape. So let's say ApeCoin is like $5 right now. So you're paying $10 for that 10-minute booster, $1 a minute, and people are going to spend thousands on that thing. It's like that is a brilliant ApeCoin sync. And look, who would be surprised if they just hired, a VP from Activision to be their CEO? Who'd be surprised if these games don't make their way into other side in some way? Like there's a video game in in the clubhouse in other side, and you can play Dookie Dash, or you can play the Apes vs Mutants game, which my son asks me about like every day because we play that together. It's like, I don't know. So it's cool. So I think I love what Yuga's doing here. I don't mind waiting the extra day. I don't mind if they delayed a week. Get it right,
That's the truth. Yeah, the worst thing would be if they had some kind of exploit or there was something bad that happened. Yeah, you got to get it right. And it's something new. Like you said, it's new technology. No one's done it before. So they got their team working on it. They're going to get it right.
100%. I'm stoked. Yeah. I'm stoked. It's another fun thing to play through and do a little differently.
It's going to be fun to play. So what you just said is actually a good point. So I'm like, somehow I'm dreaming that I'm going to end up with that key and I'm going to have some good run that like gets me through the whole thing. But I'm only going to get a tier 2 because I don't have my dog. So if it's the multiplier, there's probably no way. You probably have to have tier 1. I mean, who knows? Not that I'm like some great gamer that I'm going to get it. For some reason, I'm just dreaming that I'm going to.
But here's how Yuga works, though. Who knows? Like, what do you maybe within the tier of key you get or whatever this next NFT is,
there will be other rares too.
It's a random mint. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the
Yeah.
thing about you guys. I've had this conversation. It's like when the mutant serums are dropping, I remember saying to my wife, and I got just an M1 or whatever, but I remember saying to my wife, I was like, every time Yuga does a mint, other side, you know, if you get like got the mega codas or whatever, I'm like, every time you do a mint, there's a chance you'll become a millionaire from that. And so who knows? Maybe they'll have rarity tiers within those tiers, and maybe you'll still have that shot.
That'd be nice. So that's exciting. We'll see. That's going to happen tomorrow. I was actually, when we were talking about this earlier today, I said that there was a chance that we were actually going to be claiming them during the show here. That would have been kind of cool, but
that would have been
didn't
fun.
end up happening. Yeah. I actually bought a cool cat live on this show at one point.
I need to get it. I need to get in the cats. That's the one that's the most interesting to me from like, they're like adorable. Actually, my daughter's friend, they, you know, were texting and she made this comment where she was like, oh, my friend showed me an NFT. And I was like, she's like, it kind of looked like a doodle, but not quite. And it was like a cat and it was blue. I was like, she found a cool cat. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, do we have one? I'm like, that's one of the only ones we don't have, sweetheart. So maybe we will soon. We'll see.
That's hilarious. That one's actually with the price where it is kind of ripe to be bought up. Somebody could end up buying that one. I sold mine as a tax loss harvest, believe it or not, because I paid a lot for it. I paid 9 ETH, which was 25,000 at the time.
Oh wow!
And it went up to 15. And this is I bust Jenny's chops about it, but she kind of it went up to 15. I was going to sell it, and then she like shamed me not to. She's like, then we all won't have one because Andy has one and she has one, so I didn't sell it. And then, but I got my accountant's going to like that one. It was like a $22,000 loss.
Yo, I sold off like a whole bunch of stuff at one point, and I was just looking at it, and I'm like,
yeah.
It's funny though, because when you're looking at like your Coinly account or whatever like system you use, like to like look at that, there is something oddly satisfying. It's the only place where I like seeing the money go down sometimes, occasionally, is like where you're looking at your capital gains. Like that's going to be a kick in the teeth, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. Let's get into Moonbirds a little bit. Well, we talked about it last time. I'd love to hear your perspective on it. You know, I look at it a lot. I mean, it's one that has a chance to be that other blue chip to Yuga, that ecosystem, what they're doing. I actually saw our buddy Riggs got a Grail Pass 3 today. And one of the things we said last time was the reason that I look at it that way is bet the jockey. You know, like Kevin Rose really seems like somebody that's going to do something. Same with Gary V. Like that's one that I have all these VFriend 2s. I have my VFriend 1s, obviously. But talk about what you think about Moonbirds, the conference, and things like that. Why is that one why do you like that so much?
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I'm similar to you. I bet on the jockey, right? Not the horse. And I think Kevin's great. Justin's great. Love Stevie on that team. Harry, who does their tech, she's phenomenal. And I just think it's a really well-built team. And I mean, here's the thing is like, I think that they're one of the companies with funding, which number one, like that's the other thing you can bet on, right? It's like, you know, they're going to get a chance to try and execute what they want to execute, right? They stand for art and tech. They're building high rise. They're doing proof of conference. They have a variety of things. And like what I try to explain to people, the other thing I like about them is, you know, there's so many NFT collections where you can buy a $6,000 asset and you have the exact same asset as exact same access as a $200 asset. So why own the $6,000 one, right? Like that is a bug to me. And that's not a feature. That's not good. I've heard people say, oh, it's good. It's entry point. I'm like, right. But then why own the nice one? What they've done with Proof is, look, you have Proof. It's top tier access pass. You get the research papers from NFT statistics. You're going to get your Grail drops and you get free tickets to Proof of Conference. By the way, you also got 2 Moonbirds. If you have the Moonbird, they're building a lore around it. It's your second tier access pass. You get a discount on the Proof of Conference ticket. You know, they have the DAO that's going to help with Moonbirds that they put a lot of money into Moonbirds into. They signed with United Talent Agency to try to bring that forward. You have nesting rewards, right? So they're working on that. And then you have oddities, which they listened to the community. The community was bummed, oh, no, by the way, and Moonbirds got an oddity, which in theory, if you sold right away, paid for your whole Moonbird. With oddities, then it's like, people are like, we don't just want this art, even though it's cool art from Gremplin, and I love it. I have a couple. That's your third tier access pass. You can still get tickets to Proof of Conference. People were upset again. They were just, it's just art. So now they have this whole Mythics thing, which is going to take 2 to 3 years to roll out without costing extra money, while being deflationary to oddities. So I just think they're a really thoughtful team. They're trying to be intentional about what they're doing. And I think people sometimes hold them to an unfairly high standard when you consider, like, I love Yuga. Obviously, I'm a big time Yuga maxi, right? But like, Yuga kind of botched the mutant drop. They botched the other side drop. Ape Fest, you only got one night, and they told you 2 weeks beforehand when international people had made trips to the most expensive city in the United States, in New York. So it's like Yuga's not perfect, but people give him a pass. I kind of tend to give everybody a little grace because this is the first time in human history we're building companies in public. Like, you didn't just have to build startups in public. And yes, they get the fundraising round. I get that. But I also know starting a company is very hard. So I tend to give them a little more grace on that. And I'm excited to see, Kevin Rose has said this will be the year of the Moonbird. We held some stuff back during the bear market because we thought it was not the right time to strike. We like the market conditions now.
That's probably smart.
We're going to be aggressive,
Yeah. A lot of people put stuff out, and it was such poor timing with the, even VFriends 2 came out. It was poor timing. It should have done better. It's going to end up doing better. But a lot of things that came out in the last 6 months were not the right timing. Pretty interesting. That's good. Good perspective on the Moonbirds. And you're going to be going to their conference. It's right after it's right after VCon, right?
Yeah, I think I don't remember the exact order, but within a month of each other. It's going to be an exhausting month. It's like NFT NYC, and then it's either VCon or Proof of Conference in back-to-back weekends, one of the two in May. So that's going to be LA then Indianapolis. And but it's, these are, to me, VCon was the best conference that I ever went to. The networking was great. The setup was great. Gary did an amazing job. And so, I'm really looking forward to Proof of Conference, which I think, they've done conferences before. They've been to a lot of conferences. There's one speaker track, as I understand it. So it's going to be like high quality speakers. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. Again, art, tech, celebration there.
Yeah.
And again, like, people don't understand in Proof. People get mad when I say this. Community can be utility. And in the Proof community, it is utility. The community absolutely is utility. The people in that are building stuff. They're good quality people that I've met in that one. Not saying any community isn't good quality people, but these are builders who are here for the long haul. So I love the type of people that I've met in Proof. They're a bunch of art tech nerds, and I just fit right in there.
Yeah, that's what's up. Now it does. Did you know that Jenny and I got to interview Gary during VCon?
I didn't know. So I missed that you guys interviewed Gary during VCon. I remember she was a moderator on stage.
She was a model on a few. Yeah, she did an awesome job.
They got invited her out. Gig.
Yeah, I know. Flew her out first class. Like, really cool. Really cool. I know.
Fancy Jenny.
Yeah. But so I have a FaceTime frog. And during my FaceTime interview with him, I asked him if he would come on the podcast. And he said, "Are you coming to VCon?" I said, "Yup." He said, "I'll give you 5 minutes on the floor of VCon." We ended up in his suite, like under the stands. It was really cool. And it was actually, I felt almost a little bad because he was like on the other side doing the autograph thing, like where everyone's waiting in line. He had to run over to us, and we did a really cool interview. He's amazing. I'm a big Gary guy. I learned about NFTs because of Gary.
He's
people
great.
That listen to this podcast know, yeah, for sure.
A lot of people did. So that's the thing that I think Gary gets the least credit for that he deserves. And I'm surprised he doesn't, because Gary's not afraid to tell you when he does something good.
Onboarding. Yeah.
I'm surprised he doesn't talk about that, because they went through endless efforts. There was one time in like June of 2021, someone ran some data. Maybe it was Zeneca even at the time. I can't remember. But they did holder wallet crossover. And like, everybody who owned Bored Apes, owned Gutter Cats, owned Bonsais, owned Alien Boys. And then VFriends, there was this really high unique ownership, which wasn't everybody else, because Gary got them in. And a lot of people who got in, they got into, NFTs. Then they bought maybe a Bored Ape. And then, so he did some great, I owned a VFriend before I owned a Bored Ape. He did a great job.
Same with me. Yeah, no, VFriends was my first ETH NFTs because I was doing VV and Top Shot. And Gary said, get a bunch of ETH, because I'm dropping. So I was like, all right. And that was when I first bought ETH. And when I sold my first VFriend for like 5 or 6 ETH. And that's how I bought my Bored Ape and bought a bunch of other stuff. that was exactly how I got into that side of it. I give him respect forever for that. I know people have mixed opinions, some people this and that, but I'm always a big fan. Like, it changed my life. He put out one TikTok in early February 2021, and from that moment, like, I've been 100% Web3.
I'm a Gary fan. I know, again, like you said, people have mixed feelings about him. Not only that, I mean, I go back so I've been following Gary. I haven't told this story a ton. So I've been following Gary since the Wine Library TV days. And
Wow.
I worked at a PR firm when he was doing all that stuff. And I remember seeing him on like a College Humor something or other and thinking, like, this guy's really energetic. He's interesting.
Yeah.
And I went to the PR firm people I worked at and I was like, hey, I found this guy. He's got a smattering of following. He's like starting to pick up a little bit of steam. And they had heard of him. And I was like, he's Gary Vaynerchuk. And they were like, the wine guy, pass, flash in the pan, don't need him. And I was like, and he was doing stuff for like free at that time. Cause I was like, maybe our clients can work with him. We had different, like, consumer packaged goods clients. It would have made some sense. Yeah. But so I've been a fan for years. And frankly, like, I'll just be honest, like, he's somebody who, I believe in that thing, the 5 people you surround yourself with affect you and or whatever. But it doesn't even have to be people it could be digital, right? And Gary was a digital person I surrounded myself with at a time when my career did very well in like my previous life. And I really think he played a big part in listening to his message and what he said, following his instructions and his steps, paying attention to what he was doing. And then I correlated that to my life and, started watching other people that he would have on his podcast. And suddenly the people I was surrounding myself were my friends who maybe were more complacent, who I love. They're my friends, but like,
sure,
it was these digital people who were successful. And I think it had a major effect on me in my life.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah. I came across him a few years before that because I was like just messing with baseball cards, having fun, mostly buying Philadelphia stuff, lost all kinds of money on cards. But he's also into sports cards, collectibles, all kinds of stuff. It seems like he's into everything. But I just realized how smart he was. And I'm lucky that I found him doing that because the moment he talked about NFTs, it all clicked. If it was just a random person that came across my TikTok talking about them, I might have skipped. I remember getting Facebook ads for Top Shot, and it's saying digital cards, like, go come by. And I'm like, why would I buy a digital card? I remember thinking that until he said it, and I was like, oh, maybe I should be buying digital cards.
Yeah, right. It's like the source matters, and similarly, like I had heard about. God, where did I first hear about Top Shot? I heard a couple sports podcasts mention it. And then my friend Ben Axelrod, who's a reporter at one of the local stations in Cleveland, was like talking about Top Shot. I'm like, oh, Ben's getting it? Like, he's credible. And then went on the shot, like went in, applied, got accepted to Top Shot because that was when they were letting everybody in the platform. And then, just got that Cool Cats drop. And like you said, I mean, that's when, like, I know that's the addictive moment. It's like you buy like a $25 pack or whatever Cool Cats was, and then you sell like a $200 card. Right, you're like,
exactly.
Wow, this is easy.
It was obviously unsustainable, but that was definitely an eye opener, and it was wild. I mean, those were wild times in 2021. Wild times.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All kinds of crazy stuff. So that was 2021. We're now in 2023. What are you looking for? Projects come across your desk every day. People are looking to sponsor you guys. What does Steve look for when you want to invest in a project?
Yeah,
short-term, long-term, whatever it is.
For me, like, I tend to be a longer-term investor. I don't have time at the moment. Like, early on, I was flipping a lot more because I was working a full-time job at Nestle, and I was like, all right, this is easy. Like, this is a side little hustle thing. Now it's like I tend to buy. The first thing I look at is who the founder and the team is. Like, obviously, like, I mean, you nailed it. Bet on the jockey, not the horse. And that's exactly where it's at, right? Who is running it, and do I believe in them? Listen to them. They don't even have to be. I generally like stocks founders. If not, I want to be pseudonymous and have some sort of history to go on, right? Like Board Elon as an example, right? It's like if he, when he dropped Board Box, I'm like, okay, I can get on board with this. So founder team, right? And you look at all the ones that I hold, whether it's Doodles, whatever it may be, know who the founder and the team are. Utility is next because look, I mean, if the person who's running the project is really good and they tell me what they're going to do, I believe they're going to do it if I believe in the founder and the team. And besides that, I want it to be a really, really good utility that I'm going to enjoy because look, I own a Doodle. Okay. And it's like, if I own a doodle and we don't know where this thing's going, it's all speculative. Maybe it goes way up, maybe it goes down. I want to have fun along the way. I want to play some doodle putt. I want to go to I want to go to the Chainsmokers concert. They're doing all those different things, right? So, team and founder, utility. Third thing, if it's existing, is community. I opt out of communities I don't vibe with. I go into communities I do vibe with. I mentioned Proof earlier. Nerds who like art. Sounds like me. I'm in, right? Bored Apes. I have a lot of friends in there, like you and other people that I've met through there, right? So Bored Apes is a great one. And there's other communities I've opted out of. Doodles, I mentioned, like some of those big ones. On-chain monkey, goats, like some of these other ones I really, really enjoy, right? So I think like the people, if I like them in there, great. Community, and then art. Unless I'm buying art for art's sake, it's like the token is what really matters, right? The token is the access pass. So I want to vibe with the art. Like if I'm buying art blocks. So my first NFT, ETH NFT, was actually an art block. It's the first one I minted. That was awesome, right? And I liked the art. I bought it. There were other art blocks that probably were worth more on the time at the site, but I really liked it. So to me, that's sort of the order of operations. It's mostly like founder. Are they going to do something cool? And then if there's a community, I can check it out. And then art obviously plays a factor. And if I'm shopping, I want to vibe with it. So I look for good art because I tend to hold. So sometimes I'll pay a little bit above floor. I've been looking at Sappy Seals recently. None of the floor ones have been vibing with me and my kids, so I haven't bought yet. Once a floor one or one relatively close comes out that I vibe with or my kids vibe with, we'll pull the trigger. So those are sort of the ways I look at it, is like those sort of pieces of the puzzle together.
Where's that floor at right now? That's one that has a really good chance in the future to blow up to that 4 or 5. Let me see where they
back down to 1.17. It was up to almost 2 ETH at one point.
Yeah, 1.17 is a pretty good deal on that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find one. My kids like the ones with the cute eyes, which I don't see any around the floor. The one at like 1.42 that you'll see there has a cute, or there's one with an eye patch near the floor with the cute eyes and like a cowboy hat, but it's like, I don't know. So I'm poking around. Doubt. You're right, because like Wob is really great and Camel's really great. Camel is underrated, really, really smart, and a lot of people don't know that because they see the memes. And Wob is another one who I just think is like, really smart, engaged founders. Everybody tried to copy Bored Ape Yacht Club with the secrecy, surprise tweet stuff. Turns out that's the exception, not the rule. And founders like Luca Nets and Pudgy Penguins and, Wob from Sappy Seals and Frank and Kevin from DGods, those are the ones that are seeing success in their projects. Communicative, out front and center. It's the exception when a project is like super secretive.
Yeah. And even Bored Apes now, they have a podcast. Those guys, the founders of Bored Ape run a podcast. So it's not like they're like completely secretive, they're doing their thing. But no, I've had my eye on the Sappy Seals for a while. That's actually a good price. It's down 14% in the last, what is that? Let me see.
What was, like I said, it was around 1 when I was
it's down 14% in 24 hours.
I remember I looked at it on December 30th because I was in an airport and I wasn't about to like connect to the airport Wi-Fi and buy something with my MetaMask.
Right, yeah, of course.
And I was in the airport and it was like right around 1 ETH then. And then it just shot up to like almost 2 ETH. And I think it's just the past probably week or so that it's dropped right back down to like a this 1.17 floor. So it'll be interesting to see if it sustains. Like there's one with like barriers here on the floor that I don't know that this is a relatively rare trait. There's one at 1.18 with those little bear ears and it goes up to 1.8 after that with that trade. So who knows? Maybe I'll degen into something after we record. We'll see if it's still there.
Wow. There's been some big movement in the last week. Milady's is doubled up in the last week from 0.9 to 1.8. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. Milady's is one of those ones that, that one of the ones that kind of, I don't know, not a huge vibe there.
I don't feel the vibe either. I don't know why. Like, and where did there was an article on, I think it was Cointelegraph that did like the top 50 crypto influencers or the top, whatever it is. And Milady was one of them. We went over that list on here of all the NFT based ones. And it was really weird. It was like the only project that was on there was Milady. I don't really know too much about it, but yeah, the vibe isn't quite there for me either. In the last week, the apes are down 16%, mutants are down 17%, and Kennel's down 31%. Kennel was up to like 12. It's down to like 7.5 now.
That one surprised me because I was thinking like it was going to go up until the claim. So I thought like right around the claim time, that's when we were going to see like kind of a spike upward of people saying, I can buy this Kennel Club, I can buy this, Bored Ape, this mutant, whatever, claim the passes. Maybe they go high, maybe they don't, but then I can always resell the passes and sell these other ones down the line. But yeah, it started to fall. God, like 2 days ago, because I've been watching the mutant floor a little bit because I've been debating: do I need my mutant? Do I want to sell my mutant? I love my mutant.
I've been saying that forever. When it got up to 20, I was about to like. I know I've been saying forever that move that one.
We're exactly the same. I've been saying that the same thing, and like it got up to 20, like maybe, but that floor fiat wise, based on how ETH has moved, it's held right around like 23 to 25K for a while. Right. It's like, and I kept saying to my friend, I'm like, if it goes over 30K, I'm selling. I probably won't. It's my matching mutant. I probably won't, but I'm gonna keep talking I'm gonna keep talking a big tough game as if I will.
Right. I've been itching to sell that thing for a long time, but I never have. Yeah, I'm an M1 also. It took me a long time to even drink my serum.
Oh, I'm impatient. I drank it that night right away. Yeah. The second I could. I did it, nice. I think, live on a Twitter space or something. And then like I remember showing my son and he was like, it looks like a melted cake face thing. And I'm like, yeah. I know.
They've grown on, and some of them are actually really cool, but some of them are kind of ugly. But they've grown on me.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like I think part of what's grown on me with the mutants is not just the aesthetic, but I love that there's this like energetic community of like, meme posting, funny. Yeah. Like I was joking around the other day, like a bunch of like young, I know this is generic, but like a bunch of young powerlifting guys with unironic mullets who like look like handsomey little. And it's
talking about Thread guy. You talking about Thread guy right now?
Oh, I'll say it to his. I say it to his face.
I know. Of course,
Thread guy. NFTs are nice. I love those guys. It's like Bark Meta. It's like all those guys. It's like this young crop, and the energy around it like made me almost like the mutant aesthetic more because I'm like, I like these guys. Like I've been a Thread guy for the record. You go back. Thread guy is a hard worker. He was a reply guy before he was big. And like, I go back to that guy. I've been supporting that guy since like, a couple thousand followers. I'm like, this guy's special. And like,
that's awesome.
Good for him. I'm stoked for him.
Yeah. We've had him on here also. That was a really good episode. Good dude.
He's great. Great guy.
Ran into him at Art Basel also for the first time.
Oh, I missed him. I saw him at NFT NYC. And he was just, again, really good dude. Big fan.
Yeah. Genuine guy. He was really nice. Yeah. I was with Jenny when we ran into him and he was really nice. And he's a good dude for sure.
Yeah, he seems very what I like about him is there's enough people. I like when you see some of these people who are up and coming because when I was like in my early 20s, I was, kind of an idiot. Like I wasn't like at all like these guys and like guy like Third guy, he's smart, he's humble, he gets it, he's like genuinely hardworking and excited. I'm like, man, I couldn't have handled it in my 20s. I would have like cracked or been a
young.
jerk,
I think he's young. Isn't he like 20 or 21 or something? He's young.
Early 20s. Yeah. It's like, and I love that. Like, because I wish I had done that when I was younger. And I'm like, I'm rooting for you not to have to do the same grind I did. Like, go get it, young man. It excites me.
1000%. That's awesome. That's really cool. Let's switch over to something that's not so good news in the space. We talk a lot about scams, don't click links, don't sign anything that you're not sure about. We had a really bad one in the space. NFT God last week clicked on a Google ad for a streaming service that he was going to stream himself playing video games. And that one click gave somebody access to his computer, which took over everything. He says he lost everything, all of his NFTs, all of his crypto assets. They took control of his Substack, which he said is, that was the most important thing to him, his community that he's built up, and just all of that. I mean, that absolute nightmare, horrible to read about it. And just, people need to be very aware of that because it's one of the worst things that could happen in the space.
Yeah, it was like a punch to the gut. I felt terrible for him. Yeah. And there's just this, I think it's a circumstance where like, you can never be too careful. Because by the way, I could have had, there's so many times when people try to be like, oh, you need to be more careful. Look, I am very paranoid and careful, like to the point where Yuga drops an announcement And I checked before, like, I'm like, guys, do we know if this is legit? I'm waiting for someone to figure it out because nothing I do is worth losing on my assets. But like, I could tell you 2 times this could have been me. One, I was Googling because I didn't initially have Uniswap bookmarked. And I clicked on the top ad, not realizing it was ad. It was late. I wasn't paying attention, how a lot of these stories start. And thankfully, this was like early 2021 or mid 2021. So like the hacks weren't as sophisticated. And it said to use Uniswap, enter your seed phrase. I'm like, this is fake. So like I left it and found the right one. But like, that had just been a wall connect. Maybe I would have gotten drained, right? And then maybe I never would be in NFTs. There was another one, and this one was really smart. One of those fake DMs that looked very real. Again, wasn't paying super close attention in Discord, like way back, like shortly after the VFriends mint. And someone said, Gary's live giving away a VFriend right now. And at the time, Gary was giving away a ton of VFriends. So I'm like, oh man, he's live.
And you have to act quick on that stuff. That's the thing, right? You got to be quick on a lot of these.
And so now Gary's done this smart thing where he's like filming videos in the Discord or whatever. So he's always staying one step ahead. But it was like someone sent me a DM. I click on the DM again. Dumb. Never click on a DM link. First problem right there. But didn't realize it was a DM. I thought it was an announcement. I wasn't paying attention. Again, I was new, and it takes me to a website that's live that says it really is live because they were streaming live to tape an interview with Gary V and like I think Tom Bluto or something. And then it said at the bottom of it, click the link to claim your VFriend. I'm like, okay, that's fake. But everything, the channel looked official, the live stream looked official. It's like the hacks are sophisticated. So number one, everybody who's like dancing on NFT God's great. Like this thing could have happened to anyone, number one. Number two, feel terrible. The biggest thing I've heard from people, and so like for when this happens, I'm not a security expert, but I try to talk to people who are. The security experts tell me a couple of tips. They say, one, obviously always have a hot wallet and a cold wallet at the very least. Probably a hot wallet, a warm wallet, and a cold wallet. Right. Number two, and I haven't done this yet, and I've always said people should, and I'm going to do this, is make different Google Chrome profiles for every wallet you have, because then you sort of almost have the, contagion sort of contained. Number two. And another tip that I would just tell people is, besides obviously check links, check with your friends, I always check with people first, is use an authenticator app. A Google authenticator, a Microsoft authenticator, whatever authenticator app you can, because then it makes it a little, easier. And of course, the biggest one, hardware wallet. He had set up his hardware wallet wrong. It was an easy error to make, but he made that. It's like with a hardware wallet, at the very least, unless you sign a transaction with your hardware wallet and approve, and it's bad, people can't rob you unless they're in the same place as you. So it's like, those are the little tips that people have been telling me and I've been trying to follow. And look, hardware wallet, it's like that is like the best, still as simple as it seems, that is still the single best thing that every security expert tells me is have a hardware wallet, don't sign anything with it, and be more careful. And that's kind of all you can do. But I felt terrible for him. It can happen to anybody. And anybody who says otherwise is like, they're being a little that, like, it's almost hubris to say like, oh, it wouldn't happen to me type thing,
Yeah. Now, if you're gonna make fun of somebody and be like, you deserve it, even like you're a piece of crap if you're gonna get on somebody like that. That wasn't even like a Web3 thing he was trying to do. You know what I mean? So like his computer got taken over. It's scary, and it gets more sophisticated over time because there's so much money. Like that's a real dirge on the space. And like, what's going to happen to Bored Apes in 10 years when 20% of them are stolen?
Yeah.
That's kind of
it's a weird thought. I imagine that like when they get stolen, like people just put them back on the market. Most people just
they sell immediately. And that's right. Yeah. Some people get them back, but you have to buy them back for whatever the person dumped it at a lot of times.
Well, and like most people, like the most situations I've seen like that is like it gets dumped on the market. And then the person who bought it's like, look, not my fault. I'll sell it back to you for the price I bought it. So they're trying to be as helpful as possible. But it's like,
it's not their fault. They can't take a big loss on it. That's not
right. They're not going to be like, oh, let me give you this, $110,000 asset because you got, which again, whether it's your fault or not, like that part stinks. So it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things about the space with self-custody that just comes with the territory. And I'm grateful it hasn't happened to me. I've been close,
Same.
So it's just, you gotta realize like people who say that it couldn't happen to them again, it's just like I think with them, it's like they've probably been close or they, maybe, I don't know. It's just, it's hubris. It's just pay attention to what you're doing, do the best you can, but you just never know.
Totally, man. And there's gonna be new ones coming too. There's gonna be, new scams coming all the time. So you got to be careful with everything you do. And pretty wild. I guess there should be insurance. That's probably good business. You insure your Bored Ape from getting hacked and stolen.
It's one of those low frequency, high severity things, right? So it's like the problem with the insurance thing is that
because you work for Progressive, right? So you probably know,
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm going in all into the term,
right? So let's hear.
Here's the problem with insurance and NFTs. I've heard people who have thought about this. In fact, somebody I met on sent me a LinkedIn message, and I did a consulting call with them on this sort of thing. Here's my problem with this: is that provability of a stolen asset in this world where there's all these. Look, it's very hard. I know there's really good wallet detectives, but if you're going to run an insurance program and insure these things, you're really going to need to have OX Quit or whoever it is on your staff, somebody who can really dig into the contracts and just say, I know what happened. Hire CoffeeZilla's team, right? You have to really dig in, because that sort of fraud on that sort of item, it's like, if you have, insure your Bored Apes for $1 million,
and then I let one of my friends take it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, and honestly, it's easy to do in the cleanest way possible, because think about it. It's like, if your friend sets up a scam site and lets you connect to it and lose your asset, and then they go through this series of wallets sends out, and I know Tornado Cash is not really a thing anymore, but there are ways to sort of try to move that money, even though it's hard to commit fraud on the blockchain because it's all trackable. It's it's just a mess. And then there's time and man hours spent on it, trying to dig in there. So I just don't know if how feasible an insurance platform is going to be and what stipulations you need to have on it. Right.
I hear that for sure. That's actually really good points. So scams, everybody, please be careful. Listen back to our security episodes. If you'd like to, Plumferno was really, do you know her?
I do not.
Yeah, she's really smart. She's part of that. I forget what that team is called. They have a Discord, but she's friends with Zach, and but she was incredible. She came on here, just really knowledgeable, always chasing down scammers, and trying to keep people safe.
Oh, let me see. I don't follow her, but I see her profile. I'm gonna follow her right now. There's a Discord with I see. Yep. There's a Discord, I think, my buddy Blockchain Ninja's in there, because he's always working on stuff like that. I know exactly what Discord you're talking about, where it's I'm
trying to remember what it's called. It's only it's hard to even get invited in there. They vet you to come in. She was talking all about it, but we had a really good chat with her. Yeah. All right, we'll move on from that. One of the other things we talked about was the 6529 meme cards. Both of us are kind of on the outside. That was one. The Bet the Jockey, a lot of the things the Zeneca one he did, you mentioned him, a lot of these, the ones who are that people know, they're the influencers, the creators. Those are the ones that do really well. When he first dropped this project, I knew I should have been getting into it. For whatever reason, I slept, and I'm probably just going to keep sleeping on it. But that one, that one's sleep. Looking really good. I know, the salty sleep.
The salty sleep that we're both doing right now, because we didn't get it. We didn't get airdropped it, and we're like, all right, we're out. And it's really what we should be doing is just making up for our mistakes there. But I think we're both just not fading it per se, but kind of, it's I don't know, not the
and that actually blew up recently to almost half an ETH on the floor on the lowest one. It came back down a little bit, 0.33, but that's a really strong project. I mean, he's really impressive, all the threads he does. And we were saying, I wonder if we'll ever find out. I guess one day we'll find out who he is.
I hope so. I like those sort of things. I like learning. It's when I learned who Sam NFT Statistics was, who worked for Proof when he introduced himself. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And apparently a lot of people knew him, 9gag CEO Ray Chen, who does Meme Land, was he knew him from back in the day, I guess. And way back, so I don't know. So I love learning who people are, and it's just, it's fun. I love having a docked face. I don't know. I always have.
No doubt. Yeah. He's and I said, I think he's in Europe because his GMs come out in the middle of the night in the US. So that's my,
I love that sleuthing. That's such good sleuthing.
We'll see. I've actually messaged with him, and he messages back. If you message him on Twitter, DM him, he'll DM back with you. I was talking about the open metaverse and trying to get one of the projects I was working with up in there. Like, does a lot of really cool stuff, but seems like a nice guy.
That's always nice because I am so bad at DMs. Like, I feel like they just get buried. So, like, if he's responding, I have no excuse.
I know. I am too. I actually have one I know that I need from one of our listeners I have to respond to. That's a few days old. I try and do my best. The ones in the you ever get the ones like in the, what do they call it? The other messages with the people you're not following when they message you. Yeah. And it's message requests. And those are some weird ones up in there.
Yeah, things get weird and messy in the DMs. So I'm just not. I'm not.
And you never know. It's hard to respond to somebody like that because even if it sounds good, it still could be a scam. Because like you have to almost assume everything's a scam unless you know the person.
That's what I've turned into. I've become so paranoid and so careful that like when Yuga released their new news site. So their new news site and this is extremely poor wording on them, but the way that they did it was like you could type in like a sentence, for example. So when you go to their news site, it says at the top, like, you know, I went to the Ohio State 2001 national championship game or something, right? Or like I went to school at Penn State or whatever, something that maybe someone wouldn't think to type. So that way, if you click a link and that's not scrolling across the top, you know, it's a fake site. But when that's scrolling across the top, you know, it's a real site. But they were like, you're going to put in a secret phrase here. And I'm like, did you really just use the term secret phrase in NFTs and tell me to type something in? I'm like, this is a scam. Of course, turns out like, yes, it's Yuga's site, poor wording. But like, even with that, it was from Yuga's official account and everything. I'm like, this seems like a hack. I'm not touching this until somebody confirms. And I had to wait for people to like really confirm it with me. Totally.
Tonight, VFriends released a new website and Gary V put out a video. Hey, go to our website, go register your VFriend. And I'm like, really? Go register my VFriend? I gotta that's my hard wallet.
Yeah, I'm like,
my cold wallet. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's my hardware wallet. I'm like, and then I'll wait days on that stuff. Like I said, I will miss something that will cost me. I don't care if it costs me thousands of dollars. I'm never the first to. I'm never the first to anything. The airdrops, like those token airdrops, and I always like even the sewer thing. I'm not going to jump on the sewer claim the moment it's live. I'm going to wait until everyone starts doing it and it's clean. Yeah. I'm going to give it some time. You have the time to claim. So that's good. That's
you have 2 weeks to claim. So like, it's,
yeah, you don't need to be like the first. There's going to be no advantage to being the first person to play Dookie Dash.
Right. Unless you're trying to, they're going to give 24 hours between the claim and Dookie Dash. So you can't even be the first one. You might be the first one to sell it. That might be the only advantage. Like get it out there, put it out there for 4 ETH, maybe get lucky and get a sale.
Just watch, like they're gonna drop in like the lowest tier mint pass is gonna be like 12 ETH. Be like, all right, we're minting now. Like we're gonna be like eating our words. Like, hey, we set up a warm blob for a reason, right?
Yeah. Oh my god, that's pretty wild. So what else happened? We got we've been going for a long time. I'm glad we were able to salvage this and have a really good chat, man. You're a stand-up guy for coming back on after we recorded and it didn't go. We had a great episode last time, great episode this time. So Logan Paul, Crypto Zoo, he's trying to make amends. He said he couldn't talk about it for a while. He's coming back in, trying to salvage his reputation.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing now that he got caught, right? I mean, it's like my kids do this all the time where my kids are like screwing around and then I catch him. Then they're like, ooh, I'm going to do the right thing. Right. It's like, my big take on Logan Paul is like, if I bifurcate the person from the actual content he creates, he's an amazing content creator. He's funny. He's extremely smart. He's talented. He's athletic. I mean, his stuff he does with WWE is great. His podcast is world class. They do a good job. Crypto Zoo doesn't seem very on the level, right? At the very least, Logan Paul hired 3 to 4 people who are just terrible scammers and terrible people. And that accountability does go back to him. At the worst, he was going to rug a project until CoffeeZilla did something. And then he's like, oh, we were always working on it. I don't know where the truth lies. I'm not making any accusations on anything. It's good that he's doing the right thing. It's good people will be able to claim back their money. It's good he's building it out. But it's like, I have enough questions about him based on his past. And I always want to believe people can change. And I feel like I was like turning this corner with him where I'm like, okay, people can change. He seems more mature. He seems more thoughtful. But then he does stuff like that. And he just, I don't know. Sometimes he comes across like kind of a jerk. And I don't know. So it's like that's my take. It's like, I don't know what he was going to do with this thing. I'm glad people are being made whole though.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see how it plays out. Definitely has to have more accountability for what he's doing. You can't just put out something like that. There was a couple people in his ecosystem. Lana Rhodes is a friend of his, and she put out a project, got a bunch of fun from the community, and like rugged it right away because she's like, "Fuck this." She literally said that. I think she was like,
"Yeah," because she dated his co-host Mike.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
yeah,
and then she's pushing some coin that Jake Paul's selling, and it's like there's all these things where it's like, man,
Jake is the worst. Jake seems like I don't even.
He's another one that I don't like him as a person, and he pisses me off. But man, I love when he has a boxing match. I watch every single time. He's entertaining as hell. He puts on a show. He plays the heel role well. I don't know how much is an act and how much is not, but yeah, I don't know. With the whole shenanigans, it's like I sometimes think in this place, I'm like, man, if I just had low moral standards, I could be very rich right now. It's just I won't screw him. There was a conversation, actually, true story. There was a Twitter Spaces that I randomly stumbled upon, and like it's like a couple of, there's some people I know who are hosting it or whatever, and they were like, hey, we were just talking about you. I'm like, okay, what's that? And they're like, were we having a discussion? Who would you trust with your seed phrase in NFTs? And we all universly said you. I'm like, am I that much of a sucker, or is it just I'm a nice guy, or like what is it? What is it about me? But like but it's true. I would never. I'm not going to steal your stuff. Like so it's like. Right. But you think about like Logan Paul and Jake Paul, and they're making millions, and you're like, man, if I just had a low moral compass, I could be raking it in.
Now you are a straight up nice guy, and I think also people feel like they know you because you're on for a couple hours every day, and you're just honest and out there, and you talk about yourself, you talk about your life, and people really I feel like I know you very well, a lot about you. We talked about Ohio State, Penn State last time because I know you went to Ohio State, and I was there. I'm 4 years older than you, so you said you're 39. I'm 43. I went 97 to 01. You mentioned that 01 championship game. That was the one you lost to Miami, right? Maurice Claret.
No, we beat Miami. Yeah, we beat Miami in that one.
Oh, was that a big?
That was a huge, massive upset. Yeah, no, true story.
Okay,
about
you beat them. Okay.
Like, so me and my friend Chris, like we went to get tickets because there's a ticket lottery because Ohio State travels. Yeah. So we go to the ticket lottery, and I get there, and he realizes he's forgot his Buck ID, which is his identification card, and he's like, shit. And he's like, maybe I just won't go. I'm like, Chris, just go back and enter the lottery. So we enter the lottery. I get a ticket. He gets a ticket. Everybody anywhere around me in that lottery does not get a ticket. If he had not forgot his Buck ID, we would not have gone to the national title together. True story. Brought cigars, snuck them into the stadium, smoked them up when they won. The Miami fans were so cocky because they were like a 3-touchdown favorite.
Yeah.
Smoked him right there.
I can't believe I forgot you guys won that. Was that the game Maurice Claret blew out his knee? Or am I thinking?
No, Wills McGahee blew out his knee on Miami. It was gross. Yeah.
Okay.
They blew it backwards. But no, it's like, and then it was funny. I didn't quite finish the cigar. I put it back in the Romeo and Juliet.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
When they won in 2014, the most recent national championship, the first college football playoff, it's so gross. I smoked the rest of the cigar from 2001. Just because
my God, that's wild.
For the victory's sake.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. In 01 was my final year at Penn State, and Miami came to Penn State to open the season. First night game ever at Beaver Stadium. And it was such a zoo. It was so hard to get in. By the time I got to my seat, we were down 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. By the time I got to my seat, that Miami team was stacked all around.
That was actually, it was funny when we were down. We watched the USA game that they lost to the Netherlands in the World Cup during Art Basel, and we're in this bar, this pub, and of all people, you talk about that Miami team. Jeremy Shockey's on the couch in the corner. It was a packed bar, but I was there with some friends, and it was
Jeremy Shockey. I hated that guy because he played for the Giants. I'm an Eagles fan. Hated Shockey.
Oh yeah, he was a beast though. He was fun.
Yeah, he was a beast. He was a good player for sure. And then I would also be remiss if I didn't talk about 1997 when Penn State. That was my freshman year. We were number 2 in the country. Ohio State was number 7. And that was the last time that we probably beat you guys in one of those situations. I was at the game. Incredible game. I actually looked up the box score before we started talking because I knew I wanted to bring that one up because you guys pretty much end our season every year. Like, we're undefeated coming in, and it's
a tradition.
A heartbreaker.
My friend, Bunchu, I know we both know, Bunchu mentioned to me, like, he's like, every season it's like we come into Penn State, Ohio State, we have a really good season, and then like we lose to you, and then
is he a Penn State guy?
He is.
I didn't know he was a Penn State guy. Oh, how about that?
Yeah, I think he's like 2 or 3. He might be 4. He might be like 35, so he's a few years younger than me as well. But he's
okay.
Yeah, he's a big Penn State guy as well. So that's yeah.
It's been nasty. Like, there's been some real nasty ones. We had the one you talked about. Like, we had it won the one year. And
JT Barrett leading them back with the pass in the back of the end zone. It's just. It's always like something. It's like, for me, it's like Ohio State fan and a Browns fan. Browns up 25 in the fourth quarter. I think they're going to lose. Ohio State's down 25 in the fourth quarter. I think they can win. It's just that simple. It's like, that's what it's like. It's my one team I root for in all of sports that I get to say every year. It's like we have a shot. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. We have a quarterback now. He was a true freshman this year. Big guy, strong arm. He was one of the number 1 quarterbacks in the country. So watch out, bro.
Yeah, no, I think Penn State's they're always tough. They're always tough.
I mean, we've been incredibly talented. We've just haven't had a quarterback. We haven't had you can't win in football without a quarterback, almost never. No,
it's really hard unless you are like Alabama or Georgia. It's like Stetson Bennett's fine, but Georgia wins because of all the talent around him.
Everybody. Yeah, exactly.
It's like you have to either have everybody else or you need to have the quarterback. And sometimes you're like Clemson and you just have both.
Yeah. Whew. What a time. So this is really fun, man. I want to give you a chance to do a little bit of shilling on yourself because you are one of the hardest working guys in NFTs. I found out last time we talked. You got a lot going on, something really cool. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk about when we first started this podcast, July of 2021. The dGenNetwork team, who you're one of the co-founders, was big time helpful in getting us set up, putting us on the website, getting eyes on us, telling us about Buzzsprout, like everything. Really appreciate, always will appreciate that. We'll always support. And I love that so much. Like that really means a lot. And you guys are supportive of so many people, but you were supportive of us. And that was really awesome. But talk to the people about kind of what you have going on and all the things you're doing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. Just before I get into that, just because, for me, it's like supporting the content creators in Web3. I don't see it as a big competition. Doesn't matter. dGenNetwork, Rug Radio, Nifty Portal, y'all, it doesn't matter. Like, I want to see us all win and do well, and I don't see it as competition. I see it as and, not or. So I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, no, I have a few things going on. I obviously co-founded dGenNetwork, so I'm creating content, doing that right there. So that's a lot of my work. We have a community, a gated community, so that's really fun. Something we're working on there. We sold a token. We didn't draw a salary from that. We instead hired people like an allow list guy who gets us like really desired allow list. We just said Lost Realms, give us some allow lists. Like that's like the hottest mint going on right now. So, did that first. So dGenNetwork. I also work as the chief culture officer at Clubhouse Archives, which is a clothing brand that's working on some funding rounds right now, and actually does a lot of stuff with AR, with AR on clothing, as well as the NFC chip, near frequency communication chips in clothing. So imagine if you can connect your wallets and just walk into something because you have this chip in it, and a lot of really cool tech that's working on there, and some big opportunities there in that fashion brand. James, the leader, is 20 plus years of fashion industry experience. So he's awesome. I'm writing a book. I just turned in my first draft for my book a couple of weeks ago. So going to meet with my editor again in a couple of weeks and see her edits on that. But first draft of a book about NFTs, which is hoping to bring businesses in NFTs. It's the guy who I co-authored the first Harvard Business Review article about NFTs with. And we are, writing basically a framework introduction of NFTs so we can help bring people in the space. That'll probably not come out for another year or so because of the publishing process, but excited to be working on that. Like I dreamed of this sort of thing. So to be doing it, so cool. And then it's funny, I'm actually not going to say it this time, even though it's really cool. Because after you said it last time, like, can you tell me? And I did. And then we didn't record. I am working with a major well-known brand in the NFT space as my fourth job, leading something there. But I thought about it afterwards. I'm like, kind of want to wait until it goes full force and all the way through in the next couple of weeks. So, people will know pretty soon, but there's a very large brand. You could probably figure it out if you think about it coming into NFTs that I'm working with, that some of my friends are well connected with as well. So excited. I mean, it's an opportunity of a lifetime. So those are my like 4 jobs that I'm doing, just because, you do one job in the regular business world, you make more money with health insurance and benefits. And here you do 4 jobs and work more hours with less, and you've never been happier. It's just a whole different ball game. So really enjoying what I'm doing right now. And yeah, I mean, the other shill is best way to find me at NFTBark on Twitter, NFTBark. Yeah. That's me. And yeah, you could hear all about the rando stuff I'm doing. The book, if you want to learn about the book, there's a pinned tweet right at the top there that you can put in information. And once we have more to share, we'll do that.
Cool. And 8 a.m. Eastern every day, make sure to listen to Coffee with Captain. Awesome show in the morning. Great way to start the day. We're going to finish off the episode as we always do with the NFT collection rankings by sales volume over the last 7 days. It's actually a tiny bit different than it was the other day, which is interesting. So I'm going to run down. Number 1 this time is Mutants. 2 days ago, it was Bored Apes. Mutants has done 21.7 million in volume in the last 7 days, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, more than Bored Apes. 907 transactions. Bored Apes is number 2. Kennel is number 3. So good for them. I mean, Yuga just obviously crushing it. Other D's number 5.
Kings stay kings. Kings stay kings. Really
unbelievable. And then next week, it's going to be Sewer Pass will be up there because it'll have so much volume because it'll be brand new.
I swear to God, they could run a business based. I need to look at what their secondary sales alone is when you look at the royalties. I mean, it's like, people talk about royalties and NFTs. It's like Yuga has a whole stream of income, and that's one of the beautiful parts of NFTs. So that's crazy.
And they did Bored Apes at only 2.5%. So that was really low compared to industry standard.
Yeah, no, they're even with that, you think about their all-time volume.
I know. It's unbelievable. I think they did $1 billion in secondary it's last year. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's nuts when you look at. I mean, even OpenSea, it's like OpenSea 710 ETH total volume. I mean, that's 1,000 ETH, 710K. CryptoPunks has done 1 million ETH, 710K. Mutant Ape Yacht Club 483K all time. Other Deeds 370K of all time, and then 1 million in CryptoPunks, which they also own. So it's like you think of the top 4
no royalties on
all
CryptoPunks.
Time.
CryptoPunks is no royalties
on the site. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, but it's wild that they're just
it's unbelievable. The volume moving through there. It's unheard of. I mean, it's crazy. Both of our favorite project, Azuki, is number 4.
Yeah, I know we're both not big on the Azuki, but look, community's cool as hell. If Zagabond stepped down or whatever, I still can't get over that. I know I probably need to let it go, but I can't get over it.
Yeah. Every time I think of Zagabond, I think of the K Money. Do you remember his video he did?
Building.
He's like, I'm just a female dev. That always cracks me up. That little thing he did was great. So Other Deeds is number 5. So Rare is number 6, staying in the top 10. Art Blocks is number 7. It's in the top 10 for the first time in a long time because of the friendship bracelets that everybody got for free. They're half an ETH now. It's blowing up. It's doing amazing. CryptoPunks number 8. D-Gods cracks the top 10 at number 9. And Beans is number 10. You can't argue with the volume Azuki does. I mean, they, and the floor at 15 or whatever it is, you can say a lot about them, but they're doing their thing.
No, there was a period of time when we had Mintify as a sponsored update on our show, and they would talk about the daily volume, and it felt like every day, you start to realize, because unless you're I tend to look at the macro picture. I don't pay too much attention to floors. I like to see what's trending, but you don't think about it day in and day out. When he was saying day in and day out, top sale, Azuki, top sale, Bored Ape Yacht Club, top volume, Bored Ape, Azuki. It was always Bored Ape, Azuki, in top 1, 2, or 3, something from Yuga and Azuki. So Azuki is just absolutely continuing to crush.
They are. You can't argue with the success. Where do you get your stats from? Where do you go to see like floors, volumes?
All over the place. I just generally a lot of times will check OpenSea because that tends to be the industry standard. So like basic stuff, but I mean, you name it, like, evaluate market, crypto slant. I mean, you name it. I go to all of them in some very way. Dune Analytics has some good like macro sort of data. And then, I pay attention to
dGens.finance. You familiar? It used to be Flips.finance.
Is that what Flips.finance went to? So I didn't realize they had flipped over to dGens.finance. I loved Flips.finance. And then now, okay, so for some reason, like, I don't know if I went during the transition period. I thought like I was going to say Flips.finance. I thought like folded
Flips.finance. I'm on this website. I'm on multiple times a day because it's a really good quick look at the top projects, lots of good stats, good charts.
Oh, you need to like hold a pass to use it now.
You don't need to hold a pass. They do have a pro version where you can get more detailed analytics, but you can get for free. You can get, do you? Because I'm connected. Are you on dGens.finance and it's not working?
Yeah, I think I have to kick my wallet or something, which it's like, this one, I do remember, like, this is what happened. I went to it and I was like,
if you give me your seed phrase right now, I'll hook you up. So just,
it's right here. Let's go. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Apple coffee cup. No, it's definitely like that. Flips Finance was actually my go-to for a while. And then, this thing, I went the other day. This is what it was. I thought I had to pay for it, but you're right. It looks like either I can buy a gold pass, which I might just do. It's only a quarter of an ETH, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have a pass, but I don't even use the pro version. I like the main page, and then when I want to dig deeper in, I will. But like, it's really good to see what's going on. The red, the green, what's up, what's down, the volume. You scroll down a little bit, you get a lot of projects. Like I'm a big fan of this site for my stats.
People are selling these things at WETH, so I just got to toss in a disrespectful WETH offer and see if someone will just accept it and what happens here. That's what we'll try to do. Because the WETH offers or the people are accepting WETH offers on these. But maybe I'll just get the gold pass because I do like Flips. I did love Flips Finance. So that was always actually my go-to Grail source when I would be quoting floors and historical floors. So I love that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it was weird when it went away. Yeah, awesome. Well, what a pleasure, man. And you're a true gentleman for coming back on and doing this a second time. It was very entertaining as well. I had a great time chatting up with you. You have the gift of gab. You can chat it up. I mean, you could talk like almost nobody else. So I'm going to love watching your journey and everything. And hopefully we will do this again. But absolute pleasure, Steve. And thank you everybody for listening. Anything else you want to say before we roll? Are you good to go?
Do it again anytime you want. And looking forward to seeing you in person again soon.
My man, absolutely. Well, much love, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFTCatcherPod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.